Okay, so I am feeling quite a bit nervous, and I think this is very helpful if I record a video to express myself. I am preparing for this online book club meeting. Tomorrow at 9, we're gonna meet for the first time. We're gonna just spend like an hour in total to share books we recently read. And I have personally been reading this book for a good few months. But the more I read it, the harder I feel to summarize and explain the ideas from this book. And I've written some things down. I just want to practice if I can actually make sense of this book. So the title, Power versus Force. The author, David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD. He also wrote the book Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, which is my favorite book, period. I've read that book since 2020 actually. And I have been helped by that book profoundly. And at that book, I read The Scale of Emotions, and they also mentioned, he also had a book about the thorough consciousness which were related to, which were corresponded with different emotions. And then I always kept this in mind, and finally, I believe last year, I bought this book, and so far, I haven't finished it, but every time I open this book, I can just find something really fascinates me. So the basic idea is everything in this universe has certain energy levels, certain actually consciousness levels, and human beings, of course, has various consciousness levels. I believe there are about 14 different levels. Here's a map I want to show everybody when I share the book. It is very necessary to show people the map of consciousness. The lower bottom one was guilt, I believe. Hold on. Let me turn on this page. I have created a PowerPoint slides. So the lower bottom one is shame, which has only 20 on the energetic level, the lowest one, and the corresponding worldview is despising actually. The view of life is miserable. It's very easy to understand, very apparent according to the name. And the highest one is enlightenment on this chart. And the according view of life is the way it is, and that's it. There's no judgment, no subjective opinion, and that's the highest one. And very importantly, there's courage, which sits in the middle of the consciousness level, ranged at 200, and that's the midpoint of positive energies and negative energies. Anything above courage is positive, anything below the courage is negative. And by the way, I think it's worth to mention, power represents something within and in essence, something that lives within us, instead of some other external force that we apply to others, right? That's the basic difference. Power is within, force is external. that you could be taken away. Power is always within us. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but only when I tried to share it, I realized there's a lot that I have to be very careful. I cannot simply presume everybody understand the terms. And it's already been 5 minutes. Oh my goodness, this is not a good thing, man. Let me just read what I've written down on the notes. So my impression about this book, I have already talked about it. I can't wrap my head around this book. There's no way that I could summarize this very complicated book in a two sentence. However, on any page I read, I can always find something fascinating. And yeah, just I will get drawn to this book immediately and get enlightened with the higher perspectives of looking at life and human endeavor. I want to read a paragraph on chapter 3 on page 56. As perception itself evolves with one's levels of consciousness, it becomes apparent that what the world calls the domain of causes is in fact the domain of effects. By taking responsibility for the consequence of his own perceptions, the observer can transcend the role of victim to an understanding that nothing out there has power over you. It isn't life's events, but how one reacts to them and the attitude that one has about them that determines whether such events has a positive or negative effect on one's life, whether they are experienced as opportunity or as stress. This is very straight to point. I absolutely agree with this. When things happen to us, we often will have this mind judging whether this is good or bad. However, we often don't realize that's just our perceptions instead of the reality of the situation or occurrence, because nothing is perceived. I mean, you cannot perceive the reality basically. If something happens to you, everybody will have different perspective, different perceptions, and that only means nobody's perception is the reality. If you think your perception is the only reality, then somebody else might live in the illusion. Vice versa. And often we don't admit that we actually were fooled by our perceptions and our mind. Okay, so yeah, I definitely need to do it again. I don't think this is clear enough. Yeah, I want to make it simple, but not on a surface level, and my reader friends won't be able to get what this book is actually about, even after I share it. My purpose is very clear. I want to promote this book and these ideas to more people. This book says the best gift that one can give to this universe is to raise one's consciousness. And I think that's very correct. That's very true. Only when someone got, ascended the consciousness level, then the universe is improved, right? With one person's consciousness levels raised, that's already a blessing. All right. This is not good, man. You see, but again, I think I am at the courage level, courage consciousness level. And I'm very comfortable sharing. I'm willing to try. I want to, challenge myself to share this book, although I'm not that confident. Okay. I will need to work on this more. Yeah. We only have 1 hour, and I believe there are at least 6 people will participate tomorrow's meeting, and each person get 5 minutes, and that's already 30 minutes. So we gotta speed up, you know what I mean? All right. Talk to you later. Wish me luck.